Yeah, starting to pick up the pace tremendously. And this track kind of caters to her style, too. She's more of an elbows-up racer, and she'll showcase that for us out here as the 25K comes up to speed. So, again, this is the practice session. This is the makeup practice session from what we lost last night. We'll have the Thursday cars, followed by the Friday cars, then a track rework, and then we'll go into tonight's program, which will start with hot laps for the Thursday cars. Heat race format followed by the qualifiers, earning those passing and finish points across those 2 races. Top 16 will lock into the A main. Everybody else, the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event, and then we'll find the top 6 from that. That'll set us up for tonight's A main event. The white flag coming out. Reimer right now the quickest out of this group. Not a big surprise. Dean took his lift up a little higher than we did, Pat. I'm afraid I'd need the underwear removal tool when we came down if I was up on that lift with him. Bad enough where we are. Adam Andretti losing his sunscreen or his visor off the 44 car.
We'll take that and put it in the race aid silent auction.
There you go. So Taylor Reimer the quickest in session number 1 at 12.437, 12.437. Hayden Reinbold second quick in a 19 AZ car. Chris Bowie third quick. Weston Gorham and Taylor Courtney in the 22P car, your top 5. So we'll send them off the racetrack and then bring out our next group, which will be heat race number 2 for tonight, if you will. Again, thanks for coming out and joining us here tonight. Thanks for joining us on FloRacing as well as we get this evening started. We are an hour early on the start time, so making up what we lost yesterday to weather. Boy, the sun came out at the perfect time here, didn't it?
It did. It was certainly clouding up again, but everything seemed to be pointing in the right direction, and I thank God for this really important race. You know, Hayden Reinbold, who was just out, Chet, you and I both know this. There's a variety of ways to go about building your racing career, and one is to take the methodical steps up the ranks, if you will. In many ways, he got thrown right in the deep end, right off the bat, racing at the USAC NOS energy drink midget level, and he took his lumps. And ultimately was having a hard time making the shows. That's not a criticism, that's the reality. Now he started making shows a year ago. Now he's starting to post some good runs. I think he comes off one of his career best runs at Four Crown Nationals.
Yes.
So yep. He's figuring it out old school way.
And that's good to have him out here. And I keep complimenting. He said, you know, I'm just not good at it. It's like, dude, you are so much better than you were. So getting set to go here. This is group number 2. Hey, the Driven to Save Lives BC39. Let's have a little moment here and learn about why this event even exists.
Hey, race fans, do you know why it's called the BC39? The race is named in honor of Brian Clausen, a Hoosier race car driver and USAC champion. Brian, also known as BC, won his first USAC National Midget Championship in his family-owned car, the number 39. In 2016, Brian died in a racing accident and saved 5 lives as an organ donor. Since then, more than 8,000 race fans have signed up to be organ donors with Driven to Save Lives to be just like Brian. And in 2018, the BC39 dirt track race at IMS was born. Brian's mother, Diana, father, Tim, and sister, Taylor, and all their friends and family are here tonight. Not just to honor Brian, but all organ donors. You can save lives too. Sign up now to be an organ donor at the Driven to Save Lives tent behind the grandstands.
So group number 2 out here on the racetrack, and this is sounds like we might actually, we were just talking about Hayden Reinbold, and Drake has Hayden Reinbold down the pit area.
Hayden Reinbold coming off one of your runs Eldora Speedway last weekend for the Four Crown National. So how timely was that run for you coming into one of the biggest midget races of the season here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, it gave us great momentum. We've been really fast lately. It's just been struggling, you know, feature a little bit better and get better results, but we've been super fast. So I didn't draw too well here, start on the pole of Heat 1, so the boys give me a fast car, so should be able to pick this one up.
And you were just out there in that first session. What was your first impression of the BC39 track for this year? Obviously, they're still working through some of the runs we had last, but what was your overall takeaway from that session?
It's not only, you know, race, but I think the track's super. I think the track is pretty greasy out there, but I think it'll be really good by the time we're out there.
All right, that's it.
Well, Drake figuring some things out down there. We apologize for that, but he'll get her dialed in and find a place to stand down the pit area. It's a big old swing across the pits here as we got them extended from side to side and well across the property. So getting set to go. Well, this is group number 2 out on the racetrack. Gary Taylor out of Snohomish, Washington, the Wiley veteran, as I like to call the veterans out there, the number 32 car. And another veteran coming out here to race for the first time at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Keith Rauch, and the 27 car.
Oh, absolutely. 13-time Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association champion with his wife out here, the former Christy DeCroach, whose father was a longtime car owner. He's an outstanding racer. Good to have him.
Defending champ Buddy Kofoid out here with us for just one night. He joins us tonight beyond the wheel of the 67K. And unfortunately, he's not going to be with us the remainder of the week. Has to go back. He's running the National Open, I believe. But Randy Pankratz, the number 8 car, the 7C of Josh Balicki. Josh Hodge in the 5J, the 71 of Jade Avedissian, the 21D of Justin Dickerson, and Mitchell Moles in the 19T.
And Balicki, a driver who's actually raced at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the pavement.
Yeah, so Balicki also saw him on the ice oval up in Wisconsin. Randy Outlaw 600's up there with us, but a good racer. Joining us for the first time at the Driven to Save Lives BC39. White flag coming out. Jade Avedissian in the number 1 spot. We'll see if that sticks. Finish this one off.
Wow. She threw it in there, didn't she?
Yeah, she's snapping it around. Came to play ball. She came to play ball at Eldora, too.
Mitchell Moles out as well. Mitchell's also not afraid.
19T car joining us. So quickest now in this practice session. Jade Avedissian, the 71 car, goes a 12.192. Gary Taylor, 32 car, second quick with a 12.220. That's a difference of 28 thousandths of a second. Mitchell Moles in the number 3 spot. Buddy Kofoid, Taylor Reimer bumped down to 5th quick now. Hayden Reinbold, Randy Pankratz, Justin Dickerson, Chris Bally, and Josh Hodge, the top 10. But Randy, coming into this, we were talking about, it's got a couple sprint car wins.
A couple senior sprint car victories. Got in a car that her father, Wally, the National Midget Hall of Famer, had driven to success. In fact, he went out on top.
And that's what
he won his last race and walked away.
That's what I'm laughing, because Randy, whenever we were talking to her, she said, well, Dad won in it. I figured I had to go out there and win in it, because if I didn't, then we knew that it was I that was the one that was bad.
Yeah, no question. Wally, what a great guy. He's actually invited to the training camp with the then San Diego Chargers many, many moons ago. Very interesting guy. Gary Taylor looking good in the Brian Dunlop's car. That's a good-looking race car.
Yeah, well, that's a very good-looking race car. And Brian, obviously, second to none on detail work on his race car. I like following him on social media to see what all he does as he looks forward to the Chili Bowl each and every year, which is coming up before you know it. I mean, that's just a couple months away. But bringing out our third group onto the racetrack and leading them out is going to be the 54 car. Picked up a national win with the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars this year out of Pleasantville, Ohio. That's Matt Westfall behind the wheel of the number 54 car. Behind him, the number 7M of Kyle Jones. I used to call him the best mustache in motorsports. He's trimmed that up, and now I called him the Van Dyke of velocity, but I don't think he liked that.
He wasn't not necessarily down with that, but I laughed.
I like it. Here comes the 89 car, Kaylee Bryson, Muskogee, Oklahoma racer, right underneath the flag stand with the number 89 car. And then the 55D of Nick Drake out of Mooresville, North Carolina behind. And then the number 4 of Shelby Hinton out of Dubberly, Louisiana, sits down just on the exit of turn number 4. Backstretch, we got the 99K of Robert Carson out of Concord, California. And that beautiful 99K car, that's a team car coming in. Both those cars absolutely gorgeous. And a brand new hot rod for Kevin Thomas Jr., Coleman, Alabama racer, on the number 1 car down there. And Davy Jones putting that car together, and that thing is immaculate as well. If you get a chance to check out the detail work on that, it's got a carbon fiber dash in it, and all the zip ties are lined up perfectly and everything. A lot of time and effort going into the number 1 car. They're going to cut her loose here tonight and see what they got. And just behind the 21J, Cameron Key. Always good to have Cameron out here with us, a longtime micro racer, midget racer, very talented out of Warrensburg, Missouri, joins us here for the Driven to Save Lives BC39 as well.
Yeah, it's a good group, very interesting. As we talked a little bit about some of the drivers. Shelby Hinton, an outstanding career, won the Little Texas Micro Champion, KKM Challenge, recently at the Texas Motor Speedway. He's run the Now 600 Series. We did see him during Indiana Midget Week. That's a Bob East, Terry Klatt operation, and Bob told me early on that this kid's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, and it seems to work very well together, too. They get information back and forth and very fast whenever they're able to get out here and race with us. So good to have Shelby on board. And again, that Klatt Enterprises number 4 car down in turn number 1 and 2. So get set to fire things up here on this third group. If you want to be quickest in the practice session, you got to be quicker than Jade Avedissian. And again, this is not our Dirt Draft Hot Laps. That happens. We'll have the practice session here for the Thursday cars, practice session for the Friday cars coming up, then a track rework, and then we go into our hot lap or Dirt Draft Hot Laps. Don't forget about the two-seater ride with Levi Jones. You can do the silent auction. You put your bids in at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel trailer. All bids have to be in by the end of the practice session. We'll announce the winner and the after the second heat race, They have to meet down at the Driven to Save Lives tent. Sorry, I was getting a message there.
The Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Yeah, it is. I won $1 million. I'll see you later. Let me down. No, I'm kidding. Even if I won $1 million, I wouldn't leave this race.
Attaboy.
Well, Kyle Jones, that 7M car looking pretty good out here. Not a big surprise, though. He's always quick whenever he shows up. Right now, he's got himself in that P1 position.
Kyle, a Golden Driller Award winner in the Tulsa Shootout, came to the 305s as well. ASCS Elite Series. Picked up a Parai West race this year at Oklahoma City, I believe.
Right now, he's quickest in the practice session, a 12.154. 12.154 for Kyle Jones, the 7M car P1. Jade Avedissian bumped down to second quick. Kevin Thomas Jr., Davey just took a big sigh of relief down there. They got to see that car at speed. It goes third quick in the practice session with a 12.212. That's only 58 thousandths of a second off Kyle's time. And then Gary Taylor bumped down to fourth quick. Mitchell Moles, fifth quick. Buddy Kofoid, sixth. Seventh is Matt Westfall. Cameron Key, Taylor Reimer, and Shelby Hinton cracks the top 10 with the number 4 cars. We'll bring out our final group for the practice session here, as it sounds like Drake might have Keith Roush down in the pits.
I do indeed, Chet. And you want to talk about legends that come here to race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Keith Roush is one of them, of course, a 13-time Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association champion. And Keith, obviously, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway draws all the stars and cars. But talk about for you, what was it about this year that made for the decision for you and the team to come out here and compete this year at the BC39?
My cousin was here last year, and he said how fun it was, and it's just a dream to come out here and be involved in such a prestigious event.
So you just got your first look at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway dirt track. So what are your first impressions as you were out there in the second group?
It was a little bit greasy for me, but it's small, looks pretty racy, so we'll go out there and have some fun.
Keith Roush, as I said, one of the legends of the Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association, has come to play ball here at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
He's also on the hunt for his 14th championship this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, couldn't make the last race and had to give up the points lead. He's going to need some help. He's going to need a rain out this weekend while he's here. If he gets that, he's in pretty good shape. He didn't wish ill on anybody, but a little rain in the Rocky Mountains would be okay with him.
There you got. He hired a rain dancer to go out there and work some magic. So getting set to go with our group number 4 here for the practice session for the Thursday cars in this group. Bryant Wiedemann, the 81 car, looks so good at Eldora.
He did.
He has picked up a national win this year, but he's been very, very fast behind the wheel of the 81 car.
Scored a win at Beloit, Kansas.
Mariah Eade joins us, the 71E car out on the racetrack. The racer out of Fresno, California. Chase McDermott's behind the wheel of the number 40. The 14 car is C.J. Leary. Leary in the 14 to 7X of Thomas Meserol, T-Mez. Daniel Whitley in the 58 car pushing off. Also, Jacob Denny, Galloway, Ohio racer behind the wheel of the 25. Preston Latimus, the number 23 out of Lewis, Delaware. Our lone Delaware entry on the track. And then the Triple Crown champ out of Tucson, Arizona, Jerry Coons Jr. in the 85.
Yeah, Preston scored a USAC E-Sprint car victory this year. Sort of cracked through the victory barrier there. And Chase McDermott's a 6-time winner in the Extreme Series this year. Springfield, Illinois driver. Went up and won the Badger Championship 3 consecutive years. So he's had really a very solid campaign.
It's Jerry Coons Jr. out here, the number 85 car, the Schmitz Inc. Gateway Paintball Dave, number 85. And I was talking to Paintball Dave, and he said, hey, you should come out to my place and shoot somebody. I said, can I bring the person I want to shoot? He said, you can come out in the group and shoot as many people as you want.
So you're going to bring a group of 100.
I got some people in mind.
Yeah. You know, you talked about the draw for the heats, etc., and I knew something was up, and I looked, and Jerry Coons Jr. was staring at the board, and his words were, you got to be kidding me. So I take it he's not happy with where he's at.
He's got a pretty stout field out there. There's no doubt about it. The benefit for him is he has
Yep.
a lot of midget experience, more so than some of the drivers he's racing
He
with.
could pass some cars.
That's right. And it's all about those passing and finish points. So he's starting back at the tail of this thing, or will be starting at the tail of this thing for the number 85 cars. So keep an eye on him.
No question about C.J. Leary being in a legacy car with that traditional paint scheme they use now in all their vehicles. Davey Hamilton Jr. picking up a victory at Worldwide Technology Raceway and Silver Crown Series competition this year.
And that's a group back there that really enjoys what they do.
They do.
love being at the racetrack. They love working on race cars.
And in terms of having roots in this place, it doesn't come much deeper.
So hustle morale. Well, T-Mez goes P1 for the 7X car. He is the only car that cracked the 11-second bracket. Went 11.926, 11.926 for Meserol in the 7X car. Bryant Wiedemann was second quick. He's a 12.022. Then it was Chase McDermott, Daniel Whitley, Kyle Jones, the top five. But Meserol, P1 with the EnviroFab 7X. And that may be, Spridge is telling us, that may be the fastest we have ever turned a lap at this place.
Right. And he almost had it last year. And then he left and he tore off the top of his apparel trailer on the way out. It was good night. Suddenly turned very sour.
Yeah, it's turned sour indeed. It sounds like we were talking about Kevin Thomas Jr. and his new hot rod. Drake's got him down there in the pits.
Yeah, and you talked about sour. This guy is not having a sour day so far. Kevin Thomas Jr., of course, finding himself in a new ride for the Gym to Save Lives, BC39. But, Kevin, you have Davey Jones, of course, legendary sprint car crew chief, crewing on your midget. And you two had a lot of success, especially back in 2021. So let's start off with that. What does it mean to you to be reunited with Davey Jones, one of the best to ever work on a race car?
Well, it's a lot. You know, he does a lot for my confidence, too, especially, you know, I haven't had that great of a year. And, you know, obviously, like, with him brings, you know, just the trust, and T-Mez is over here, but just the trust that, you know, he's going to give me the car capable of winning. So, you know, obviously thanks to Leighton Crouch, Scott Petrie, Westside Tractor Sales, everybody that's been involved in order to put this car together. It's a super nice piece, and it's got a little bit of speed out of the gate. Got to work on some balance things just for this track, and other than that, you know, we're starting off on a good foot.
And you talk about working with Crouch and, of course, Petrie. And this was announced a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So did the deal come together then, or was this something that had been in the works for a long time?
Well, everything I do these days has been last minute, but this is the one thing that hasn't. So, you know, a big appreciation to those guys and working together. You know, it's two car owners that are, you know, doing their due diligence to put a nice piece out here. And it's nice. It's really nice. Davey put together a car that it took him a little bit. It took him about a month to do it, but other than that, you know, it's probably the nicest car I've ever driven, and hopefully it's as fast as it is good looking.
Kevin Thomas Jr. is driven to save lives. BC39 off to a good start. He's currently top 10 on the speed chart.
And that was the deal, too, where he said about probably the nicest car he's ever driven. Davey said it's the nicest car he's ever built. So that is saying something right there, yeah. So a testament to the time and effort went into that race car. These are the Friday cars. These are your Friday racers out on the racetrack as we speak. And in this group, idling around the racing surface, we should have the 19. Dason Pursley's down in turn number 1. Behind him, the 19M, Ethan Mitchell out of Mooresville, North Carolina. The 27B of Jake Buback out of Arvada, Colorado. He is making his way down into turn number 1. 68 car here just behind Emerson Axum, Franklin, Indiana racer, and then the 36, Ian Krieger out of Covington, Ohio. And the Pound 1, or the 1Z, sometimes we call him that. We'll probably refer to him as the 1Z. That's Justin Zimmerman. Boy, Zimmerman looked good. We went down to Texarkana, where you're down at Devil's Bowl, and his stomping ground, and he was bad fast, the old sprint cars.
Well, you're absolutely right. He looked awfully good there.
Definitely.
Jake Buback, an outstanding second-generation driver. His dad, Rich, was around for a long time. He's a former Race Saver National Champion a couple years ago. He's won the Belleville High Bank Nationals in the 305 for Rick Salem, former series. Rick's retired from that. United Rebel Sprint Car Series.
And another one of his racers actually spent some time running Knoxville.
He's won in about everything over the last couple of years.
Here we talk about West Sellerfield. Now again, these are your Friday cars. They race tomorrow. This is the practice session. Oh, we jinxed Zimmerman. He pulls off the racetrack for the infield. But these are the cars that'll be racing tomorrow night. We're making up that practice session we lost last night. The white flag coming out. In this practice session, we're just going to keep timing and scoring live across the board. So we'll see where they all stack up against each other, kind of in one giant group, if you will. Right now looks to be maybe the quickest out of this group. I say that, Dason Pursley made a liar out of him. Scrolling up through there. So checkered flag displayed. It is going to be Dason Pursley, the quickest out of this group. He goes 5th quick overall with a 12.154, 12.154 for Dason Pursley. Well, your chair's a long way down there, Pat. You just kind of disappeared from view. I was like, we lose Pat. Is he climbing down the lift? So Team still up top at 11.926. Bryant Wiedemann, Chase McDermott, Daniel Whitley, your top 4. Dason Pursley slides into 5th quick on the field. Then I think your 2nd quick out of this session is Emerson Axum. He is 11th quick overall with the 12.289. I can scroll all the way down. I always like bringing this up down to 20th quick on the field. It's still within half a second of that top spot, basically. So bring out group number 2.
You know, to that point, I did a little piece on Western Gorman, and he said, you know, I went to Gas City. I'm wide open. I'm hammering it. I'm doing everything I can. I look down, and I'm 19th fast. He says, that's as fast as the car could go. It's not a knock on his car. He said, this next sentence was, it's tough. It is.
Oh, it is. And that's what you basically have to be perfect, is what it requires if you're going to get yourself inside the top 5. Now, again, there's no qualifying for the Driven to Save Lives BC39. There's Rich Foreman picking up some debris on the front straightaway. His book's for sale down at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel Trailer. Also, the Triple Crown is available down there, the latest issue of that as well. There's a lot of neat things. Also, since we have a moment here as we're bringing out this next group of cars, I'll give you the vendor midway. So Logan Seavey and Mitchell Moles are down there. Don't forget, Seavey is going to be signing autographs down at the Driven to Save Lives tent after the practice session. Dason Pursley's trailer is down there. Keith Coons Motorsports setup is down there for all their drivers. Brady Bacon's trailer is down there. K1 Race Gear is with us here tonight. And then in the USAC Merchandise and Apparel trailer, there's also Emerson Axum and Teamez. You can get that for USAC Merchandise and Apparel trailer. Justin Grant's trailer is down there. And so, yeah, there's plenty to see and do. And the silent auction.
Had a chat with Tony Laporta yesterday, and he told me he went to a fly shop in Zionsville, Indiana, and guess who was there? Mitchell Moles.
Not a big surprise.
Not a big surprise. It's a duck hunting motif on his latest shirt.
Yes.
He had a fishing motif on an earlier one.
That's awesome. Very cool. So this is group number 2 out on the racetrack just underneath the flag stand out of Bethany, Connecticut, our lone Connecticut entry. That's Kenny Johnson behind the wheel of the number 46 car. Just in front of him, the number 86 car making a move over to Chad Boats with the number 86. That's Kenan McIntosh, the Bixby, Oklahoma racer. So he is in the CB Industries ride out here for the BC39. Just in front, the number 11 L of Aaron Lefwell out of Springfield, Ohio. That is such a good-looking race car. Also, the 25 car joining us out here on the racetrack. Fires off. It has the 25M of Jake Andriotti. The 55 car of Trevor Klein. And then also behind him, the number 40X of Zach Wiggle. And the 17B of Austin Barnhills. It sounds like Drake York has someone forced down to pit area.
Yeah, that's Ian Krieger, of course, 4th in USAC Midwest Thunder Speed 2 midget points. But coming out to the BC39 in your D2 midget. So obviously you're a little bit underpowered. So what challenges is that going to present you here this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unfortunate. We lost the power plant at Eldora, so we already bought our pit pass and everything, so we may as well just be here. It does, like you said, it definitely plays a toll on horsepower-wise, but luckily it's a small track, so we're just hoping it slicks off and maybe we can get something going.
Ian Krieger, as you heard him say, we saw him at Eldora last week make his appearance, 2 appearances actually, with the Nos Energy Drink USAC National Midget Series.
Yeah, so good to have him out here with us. And that's a conversation I had with some of the Badger Midget guys coming down here to race with us. And they said, you know, the size of the track, it's not really, you need horsepower, but you don't need a massive amount of horsepower. And they feel like that they'll be able to compete.
Yeah, that's the equalizer. Obviously, a lot of it will come down to how the cars handle as well. Boy, Zach Wiggles had an awfully good year, 6th-time winner this year in Midwest Thunder competition. He's locked in a good battle for the championship with a couple of races to go.
We'll send them on around. You want to quickest in the practice session. Quicker in T-Mez, 11.926, the number to beat. Hang on to it, Cannon McIntosh. Had himself a little squirreled up coming out of turn number 4. Getting an 86 car, McIntosh moving over to CB Industries, Gear Wrench, TRD, pristineauction.com, number 86. Came onto the scene in a big way as he picked up the Shamrock Classic to kind of kick off his national debut. And in a run for the championship over with the Extreme Series. He and Jade Avedissian had quite the battle. The checkered flag comes out. So the track's starting to widen out, or continues to widen out here, and so far none of those able to crack into the top 10. So looking down through. It's up top still Thomas Meserol with an 11.926. Bryant Wiedemann second quick. Chase McDermott, Daniel Whitley, Dason Pursley, your top 5. Kyle Jones, 6th quick. Jacob Denny, Jade Avedissian, Kevin Thomas Jr., Gary Taylor, your top 10. That song remains the same as we'll bring out group number 3 of the Friday cars. In this group, we should have Clinton Boyles joining us, Greenwood, Missouri racer, number 11. He was in the 98 car up at Gas City I-69 Speedway during the James Dean Classic, and I had misunderstood him. He said he was practicing. He was getting tuned up for the BC39, the Chili Bowl. I thought he was going to be in the 98 car. That was not the case. He meant the driver was getting tuned up. The car he's in is the same car he runs at the Chili Bowl. He'll be running at the Chili Bowl again this year, but Clinton Boyles coming out in the number 11 car. Connor Wolf joins us. He's behind the wheel of the 1G car. That racer hailing from Lafayette, Indiana. And then Oliver Akert in the 41, the Fort Myers, Florida racer. Landon Brooks, the 1D car. Don O'Keefe is in the 99. Daniel Robinson, the 57A out of Wayne City, Illinois. Flying Ryan Timms, the number 67 car. Jeff Schindler, the 8X. And then Isaac Chappell, Willow Branch, Indiana racer in that number 6 cars. This is group number 3 of 4 here on practice night. So my apologies on that. So we have just updated. I just updated. You need to correct me, Pat. Apparently I was having some scoring issues there.
I dotted my...
Yeah, so T-Mez, Jake Andriotti, Cannon McIntosh, the top 3. My apologies for that. And it sounds like Drake might have Kaylee Bryson down in the pit area.
I do, and Kaylee Bryson is teammates with Cannon McIntosh this weekend with CB Industries, and we didn't really get to talk at Gas City about the change, so tell us about going over to CB Industries after spending so many years at Keith Kunz Motorsports. What are some of the biggest differences you're noticing so far?
Yeah, you know, I wanted to jump back in the midgets. I knew I wanted to come to the BC39. I knew Chad had good cars, so I reached out to him, and he had a spot available, and, you know, I'm really excited to be in his car. He's got some really fast cars, so looking forward to see how we do tonight.
And last year, such a magical run for you at the BC39, scored a top 10 finish. So are the expectations still the same, or are they even more heightened this year after that good run last year?
Well, I want to do better than last year, of course. We got 7th last year, so always looking to improve.
Kaylee Bryson, we'll see her in the 89 for CB Industries this weekend here at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So getting set to fire off this next group. We have one group after this. This is group number 3 of 4. We'll have our 4th group come out. And again, my apologies for that. My timing and scoring not updating. T-Mez still up top at 11.926. We've now had an 11.957 by Jake Andriotti in the 25M car. Cannon McIntosh 3rd quick with 11.979 in the 86. Bryant Wiedemann 4th quick. Trevor Klein, Chase McDermott, the top 6. Daniel Whitley, Dason Pursley, Kyle Jones, and Jacob Denny, the top 10.
Chet, you introduced Connor Wolf, who was out in this session. The guy who came through the quarter midgets, the mini sprints, etc. But he's won 5 or 6 times this year with Tony Stewart's All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midget Series, which races extensively in Indiana, has a long history back to 1961. So in the TQs, he's been very, very good.
If I'm not mistaken, TQs, they run the indoor race out here, the Rumble in Fort Wayne. Is that a TQ race?
That's a regular midget race.
That's a regular midget race? Okay.
No, the spiritual home of the TQs has been Rushville, Indiana for years, but they run traditionally the fairgrounds. The now Tony Stewart Raceway in Columbus. They run at Seymour. They run throughout the area. And again, began at the Rushville Airport literally back in 1961. There were some TQ clubs that ran before that. And Jack Hewitt's dad, Tom Nanu, was pretty good in a TQ.
Lights going down around the racetrack. Green flag set to fly. Blue cut them loose. Number to beat, 11.926. Well, now let me refresh my timing just to make sure I'm speaking correctly. It looks like the song remains the same up top. Still Team S, Jake Andriotti and Cannon McIntosh, 1, 2, and 3 on the field. Brian Wiedemann still 4th quick. Trevor Klein to 55, 5th quick. Chase McDermott bumped down to 6th quick. Daniel Whitley, 7th quick. Dason Persley, Kyle Jones, and Jacob Denny, your top 10.
Jacob, who scored victories earlier in the year and was really on top of the world then, had to sideline for a little bit for a concussion situation, came back strong at Gas City with a second-place run, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat, really, Chet.
Yeah, he's firing on all cylinders. There's no doubt about it. Said he feels good, and I told him the story on the dirt draft. My cousin called and said, is Jacob Denny, would he be good to take on dirt draft? And I said, yes, he would be very good. He said, man, I hope I don't suck tonight. So I'll bring out, I don't know if he was referring, he might have been referring to picking him on dirt draft.
There you go.
Him. He knows how my dirt draft works. Bring out group number 4 onto the racetrack. This 4th group should be comprised of the Macho Man, Brady Bacon, the 21H car, the 10C of Mark McMahill. Beyond the wheel, the number 10C, the 57 of Logan Seavey, the 75 AU of Brian Stanfield, Carter Sarf in the 21K, Scott Evans, the 118 car, the 9 of Wes Pinkerton, 7P of Zach Dahm, and then Gavin Miller, Allentown, Pennsylvania racer in the 97 will be coming out in this 4th and final group for the Friday cars. Then following this, we'll have a brief track work session, get us set up for Thursday night racing action.
Brady Bacon, the inaugural winner back in 2018, one of the very few drivers who've made all 4 feature events that have been contested here.
Yeah, and Bacon, what a win that was for him there on that inaugural year. Doesn't race a midget a whole lot these days. Just on occasion, You'll see him at some of the bigger events, but still plenty fast whenever he gets in there, and always fun to watch. But that TKH Motorsports, well known down at the Tulsa Shootout and the Chili Bowl.
Right, where he's been outstanding at the shootout for so many years. You know, Brady, in so many ways, the fact that he, wins at big races has just become his MO. Higher dollar races, higher profile races seems to be where he really shines. He shines everywhere, but I'm just talking about
just a little
in degrees.
A little extra shine on those.
Yeah, that unfortunate situation in Eldora where he got the methanol in his eye told me he's A-OK.
Well, that's good to know. Gary Taylor, we were talking about him earlier on. Sounds like Drake has tracked him down in the pits. Drake?
I have, Chet, and you want to talk about a guy who spends a lot of time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway throughout the season. Gary Taylor is your guy. And, Gary, I'll have you elaborate. What is your day job that brings you to the Indianapolis Speedway a couple times a year?
I'm a car chief on an Indy Next car, so, we came here in May and came here again in August. So, it's neat to come here and be wearing Nomex this time.
And I'm sure you're very excited about that. And you're going to roll off on the pole for Simpson Race Products heat race number 2. You'll start on the inside of the front row. And with this format, it really promotes winning when you start on the front row. So how much pressure does that put on a guy like you who's a part-time racer and hasn't ran a midget since the Chili Bowl?
It's a lot. You got to just make sure not to overdo it. But, I mean, I got Jaden Buddy back there and Mitchell off the back. So your only option when you draw the pole is you have to win. So get a good start and run 8 good clean ones, and my car's fast, so I just got to do my job, and we'll be just fine.
Gary Taylor set to roll from the pole in heat race number 2 later this evening. Chet, Pat, this guy is no slouch behind the wheel, a former Tulsa shootout champion, and still manages to hop in a wing sprint car every now and then.
And he's looking sharp in that K1 race gear race suit. Wow.
Doug Bowles might want to take the ride from him. I can see him right there studying the situation on our screen.
He is. Doug's one of those guys that is always looks nice. He's always got his tie on, his shirt.
Doesn't sweat.
Looks good. No, it's pretty impressive, actually. That'd be me. I would look like I was working on a car in a grease pit.
I concur. Gary Taylor is absolutely right. He's a former Rocky Mountain Midget Association champion. He was an ASCS sprint car champion. You can take the wing on, you can put it on, you can do whatever you want. And this guy knows how to get to the front. He's been just a talented guy for years now.
Yeah, it's a little bit like riding a bicycle, right? So you get out here, you get ripping around a little bit, and it doesn't take long to get back in the rhythm of things. And
it does, but again, I think as we roll back the clock a week, I still think the fact that you're a Logan Seavey and you win in 3 dramatically different race cars. I don't care if you're a professional race driver. To me, that's still unbelievable.
Yes. Here we go, getting ranked up to speed. This is our final practice session of the makeup practice, if you will. Logan Seavey. New sponsor on the side of the 57 car coming out here. The Indy Fuel on the side of the number 57's caution is going to come out. Unfortunately, the 118 car around down here for Scott Evans. But Indy Fuel on the side of the 57 car coming on board there as they traditionally do. Started that tradition last year,
yeah.
But if you want to see some great hockey, you can find it right here in Indianapolis.
Yep, East Coast Hockey League. My good friend Andrew Smith provides play-by-play action and works at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for events in the race control with the public address team. A lot of crossover. I mean, obviously, I'm still a hockey player. Love the sport. Glad to see the Fuel involved.
A little breeze picking up here. This umbrella keeps beating me in the head. I'm glad I'm on this side here to take that brunt of the impact for you, Pat.
I appreciate that.
Knocked me askew there once.
I'm close to have taken the white flag. You've got a few more laps left in you, so try to help me here.
Scott Evans pushing off there for the Rome, Texas racer. Texas Aeroplastic, Knots to you, number 118 car. As last year made his debut in the Little 500. So came up, ran a little bit of pavement up here with us, but primarily a dirt non-wing sprint car racer. But I knew the name. Actually was a very good legend racer many, many moons ago. Well, not many, many moons ago, just many moons. We'll give it 1 many on that. Getting her cut loose. Well, unfortunately, now the caution flag coming out as we got the 75 AU of Brian Stanfield around down in turn number 3. That seems to be the treacherous area of the racetrack, bringing those cars around. So that'll stop us here for just a moment. Get him pushed off. We'll try her again. Take full advantage of the vendor midway down there, and don't forget about the silent auction. You can go for a ride in the 2-seater sprint car with 7-time national champ Levi Jones. Now you can put your bids in down at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel Trailer. All bids need to be in before the end of the practice session, which I got news for you. It's just about now.
Right.
Yeah, so make sure you get down there and get your bids in if you want to go for a ride in a 2-seater with Levi Jones. We'll announce the winner of that before heat race action tonight, and then after the second heat race, you'll need to head down to the Driven to Save Lives tent and get geared up and ready to get out in the sprint car with Levi Jones. So shake it up, cut them loose here. We try it again. Well, Brady Bacon appears to be the quickest out of this group. Bacon in the 21st spot with the 21H car. Goes a 12.360. That's only .434 off the top spot. Carter Sarf right behind him, 22nd quick on the field. So that was your 2 quickest coming out of this 4th and final practice session. We're going to, again, have a little bit of a track rework here and then get set to go with our hot laps for tonight's event. So now we're basically getting set to kick off Thursday night racing action here at the Driven to Save Lives BC39. Team Ez was the quickest in the practice session, 11.926. Jake Andriotti goes second quick at 11.957 in the 25M car. Kana McIntosh third quick at 86 and 11.979. Bryant Wiedemann, Trevor Klein, the 55, your top 5. Then Chase McDermott, Daniel Whitley, Dason Persley, Kyle Jones, and Jacob Denny were the top 10. Jade Avedissian was 11th quick. 12th quick was Kevin Thomas Jr. Zach Wiggle is 13th quick. Gary Taylor and Kenny Johnson, the top 15. So it sounds like Drake may have Taylor Courtney down in the pit area.
I do indeed, Chet. And you want to talk about a busy guy here at the Driven to Save Lives BC39. Moonshine is your guy, of course, not only running for the first time in a while. Let's start off with that. You're set to roll off 5th in Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1, but you were just telling me you got to knock the rust off and you're going to get to do it again. So what was your overall takeaway from your first practice session?
You know, my takeaway from that was, yes, I'm definitely rusty. I don't think I've raced a midget in almost 3 years. So, and I didn't have a whole lot of experience in a midget prior to this. So getting able to do this, do it in Indianapolis in front of fans, family, friends, all the above. I mean, it's incredible. This track is definitely one of a kind still, even with it being raced once a year. Turn 3 is different than turn 1, so you've got to have a couple different entries. And I think if I can figure out turn 1, I think I'll have a pretty good heat race.
The thing that jumps off the page to me when I look at the entry list for all 6 Ramco Speed Group cars is it's not just one engine package and one chassis package. You got a lot of different things going on. So first off, what are you able to learn from each and every car? And second, can you apply it to every other car? Because like I said, the packages are just so different on all 6.
So I would say probably 4 out of the 6 are pretty similar, maybe 3, honestly. And then the other 3, they're similar, but like the one I'm driving is one of our homemade cars that we did back. I think the first year we drove it was 2019 at the Chili Bowl, and then so it's pretty similar to the normal spike chassis that everyone else runs. And then we have an old Stealth spike chassis that's pretty similar, just a little bit older. But yeah, all the engine packages are definitely one of a kind. We finally actually somewhat have a couple matching, and then we have a couple oddballs. But for the most part, they all take the same parts, and that makes it easy on us.
Taylor Courtney in the field tonight. As I said, he'll start 5th in Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1. Also scored his first career USAC National win as a car owner this season at Belleville.
Thank you so much, Drake. We appreciate that. And again, a little track work taking place. And then following this, we're going to go directly into our Dirt Draft Hot Laps to kick off the Thursday portion of the Driven to Save Lives BC39 Hot Laps, which is a lot like Hot Laps except mispronounced. Pat, are you okay? We just came down the tower. I get all amped up whenever that happens. I got something going on. I'm going to have to go in here and bend in the bathroom maybe.
Hey, race fans, have you already signed up as an organ donor with Driven to Save Lives? If so, you can do even more to help save lives by becoming an official Driven to Save Lives ambassador. As a Driven to Save Lives ambassador, you will help share the life-saving message about organ donation in your community and also get exclusive access to swag, content, and special events. Signing up for the program is easy. Just visit driventosavelives.org and click on the ambassador tab. Or stop by the Driven to Save Lives tent to speak with one of our crew members.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We changed the industry by formulating the first API-qualified 100% synthetic motor oil. The rest of the market has been trying to follow our lead ever since. But a head start is a head start. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond. Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
American manufacturing is back, and Green APU is leading the charge. Assembled in the United States to the highest standards, the Green APU Star Edition is the finest auxiliary power unit on the market today. More power, less maintenance. The choice is clear. Choose quality. Choose Green APU.
Did we help someone today, Daddy?
Yeah, kiddo. We did.
Race fans, use code RACE for 10% off of a full roof replacement from our executive collection.
Welcome to our world. A world of dirt, drift, and dodging fate. A world where all of motorsport collides. A world of digging deep, of grit, glory, and bitter defeat. Inhabited by the strong, the fearless, the barely sane. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of NOS.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
One Brian. One decision to sign up. 5 lives saved. Over 8,000 race fans inspired to sign up to save lives. You have the power to be like Brian and inspire others too. Sign up to be a Driven to Save Lives ambassador and become a part of something legendary. Sign up to join the team at driventosavelives.org.
BC39 main event here at the dirt track at IMS. And Jade, as we come from Eldora Speedway, which is nearly the polar opposite of what we've got here at the dirt track at IMS, what do you feel more like suits your style?
I don't know. Hopefully both. We had a good run going last Saturday at Eldora and then ended up upside down. So just got to limit the mistakes coming into this weekend. And like you said, it's polar opposite. We got a really big track and a really small track. So like I said, just limit the mistakes, and I know I have a very fast Mobile 1 Toyota Racing 71.
Just got off the track from practice. Do you feel like it's sort of similar to what it was last year?
Yeah, I think so. This place is very sandy, so it's going to be tricky to just keep the tires under your all night. Like I said, sand is like basically slick out there, so it's going to be super tricky, and you just got to put the car in the right place and make sure your wheel spin's caught up and not too caught up and just blowing the tires off. So, and just be super precise for this heat race. I think we start 4th, and hopefully we can win it. That's the goal, and get as many passing points as we can.
You get another round of practice here. What are some things you're looking to change?
Just kind of move around, just free more laps that you can gain on and hopefully improve. I felt really good in the first hot lap, so just kind of take that and move around and see what we can do in the heat race.
Jade Avazisian still seeking to become the first female to win a USAC NOS Energy Drink midget main event. And fun fact for you, Chet, all the females in the BC39 field are racing tonight, Thursday.
Well, it is an interesting fact and something I never really picked up on, to be honest with you, Christy, so thanks for pointing that out. Did you realize that, Pat, all the females in the field race tonight?
No, I did not.
See? Neither one of us. But a tremendous field of talent coming out here to race over the next 2 nights. The Driven to Save Lives BC39. If you look up on the big screen, you can see the Klatt Enterprises rise. They work on that. Shelby Hinton, the pilot of the number 4 car, as they are underneath the rear of that race car doing something.
Well, and I mentioned that Bob East is really high on that young driver. Feels like he has a lot of talent. And a big day tomorrow for Bob and Janice East. Bobby East will be inducted in the USAC Hall of Fame. It's a bittersweet but overall happy moment for the family.
So again, that happens out over the just across the street at the USAC office over there, the beautiful facility, and tickets are sold out for the dinner portion of it. But the actual induction ceremony portion of it, you can more than welcome to head over there and join them for the induction ceremony, and it'll be broadcast live on FloRacing if you're away from here and would like to watch that. But yeah, it's just such a neat thing to be a part of. So getting stacked up and ready to go, we'll have our Dirt Draft Hot Laps will be the next thing coming out here onto the racetrack. And again, the Dirt Draft Hot Laps for tonight's portion, this will be your Thursday cars coming out again. Obviously, you will not see the Friday cars again until tomorrow night. And then we'll set us up for our heat races. We'll have 4 heat races tonight, which are lined up based on a random pill draw from earlier today. So they came back, they pill drawed, that lined them up for their 4 heat races here tonight. We'll run the heat races, the finish of the heat races, the points that they accumulate from the heat races. And again, that's passing and finish points. Those points will line them up for the qualifier races. And the 6 fastest or 24-car inversion, we'll just call it that, for the 4 qualifier races. We'll run them again. They'll again accumulate points. We'll add the 2 together. And the top 16 in points overall will be advanced directly to tonight's A-main event. And then from if you don't advance into the A-main event, you go to the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts Semi. We'll take the top 6, the 22-car starting field.
And the best thing about all of that, Chet, is there's going to be a pop quiz on that over at the USAC Apparel Trailer after the event.
There you go. So pop quiz for you. Hey, we were talking about Shelby Hinton. It sounds like Drake has caught up with Shelby.
Yeah, part of the reason we're down here is to see what you were doing out there on FloRacing. So obviously Bob East, legendary as it gets. So what were you guys working on here during this break before your next round of hot laps?
In our first time hitting the track, this is my first time even seeing the place. Had a small hop get in the corner. We were trying to fix that and some other minor adjustments. This second round of hot laps is going to be key for us, so we can try to sit down a really good lap and see where we're at for the rest of the night. Just heard the horn, so probably going to hurry up and get back and get ready to go.
All right, we'll let him go. But I would like to point out, Chet and Pat, Shelby Hinton won a $10,000 to win micro race at Indiana's US 24 Speedway earlier this year. This place, I've heard some compare it to micro tracks, so this might work right in Shelby Hinton's favor.
You know, my favorite Shelby Hinton story, actually, talking to him earlier this year, he's down in Dubberly, Louisiana, and I said, what part of Louisiana is that? And he said, it's the part where you can understand what we're saying.
That's a funny one. You know, we give every year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the Louis Switzer Award for mechanical achievement. It's a really big deal. Some folks from Purdue usually head up a committee in IndyCar chief mechanics. I emceed that ceremony for a number of years. And one year, we gave the award to some company from Louisiana. And I can't remember the innovation that they had come up with. But when we discussed with this gentleman the innovation, how it worked for racing, he says, you know, the funny thing is, when you get down to it, I'm from Louisiana. What we do down there is fish. But the fact of the matter is, it is pretty good work engineering-wise.
Timez coming out here and cranking off a very, very good opening lap in the practice session. Sounds like Christie has caught up with Meserol.
Yeah, so Thomas Meserol, your fastest in dirt draft hot laps, and he's getting ready to go out for another round of them. Timez, so many times over the years, you've been super competitive here at the dirt track at IMS for the Driven to Save Lives BC39. Do you feel like this is one of those events where you're a major threat?
Well, I'd like to think so, but you know, you go to the racetrack and you just bring your A game every time you can, and this place, you know, you bring a little bit more out. This is one of the biggest races of the year, if not the biggest race of the year. You know, we're at, my buddy Jason Holt likes to call it the Mecca, you know, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So pretty awesome to be here. Even better to be faster. It's pretty cool. I got Donnie Gentry back here turning wrenches, so I didn't have to set it up. So maybe that's what I've been missing. Hopefully get Donnie out to the racetrack some more. And thank everybody for coming back, and thank everybody for watching.
I'm getting a really collected vibe from you right now. Are you feeling calm?
Absolutely. You know what? It's so easy to get pressure put on you at all these big races, but at the end of the day, when you roll out on the track, sometimes, you know, like you just can't change what happens. And so, like today, I'm just letting it all happen.
Thomas Meserol has a best of third here at the Driven to Save Lives BC39. He's looking for one more this weekend, Chet.
And it looks like also in the background here, I saw Team Tiny Timez walking around as well. So he's got the daughters out here with him.
Here we go. He's on the Simba cam now.
Yeah, they're feisty just like he is. So we're getting set to go. Looks like the track work complete. A little wall scraping taking place there during that brief moment of downtime as well. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day out here at the racetrack. A nice little breeze blowing. And, yeah, just getting set to go with a phenomenal night of racing.
You know, Chet, I really think it's something that you really can't overstate, and that is, you know, in my position, to be able to work this event. I've been able to be on the public address at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's such a big deal. The fact that you're able to be a part of the event, and so many of these drivers, and some of them think about it, and some will think about it later. The bottom line is, at some point in their life, they will be able to say, I raced at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It might be on the dirt track, but that still makes it a very big deal. And that's what drives some of these drivers and teams from other parts of the country who come here, and quite frankly, a lot of them know, if I could somehow get to the feature, that would be a victory. It's hard to really kind of carry a knife into a gunfight against some of these professional teams that do this week after week. But it's the lure of Indianapolis that gets them here. You know, one of the great promoters of all time was Al Sweeney with the IMCA, who raced the fair circuit in the Midwest. And John Cooper, who was the president of this facility, was also the president of Daytona. He was on the International Speedway Corporation board for years, loved midget racing, just a tremendous guy. And years ago, when he was a young man, he was standing next to Al Sweeney down in the South, big state fairgrounds promotion with IMCA sprint cars. The place was packed. And he says, Al, what is the motivation, or what is it that draws people to these races? And Al Sweeney looked at him and said, John, it's the reflected glory of the Indianapolis 500. And that's what the lure was, and that's still true to this day.
Well, it's such an awesome feeling. I talked about seeing the pagoda over here, and I just, every now and then I find myself stopping and just standing there and staring at it out across the golf course. Such a neat setting for the dirt track out here, and we thank everybody that made this all possible. We're able to come out here and race at this wonderful racetrack. Got to give a shout-out to Dennis Turners, is sitting over in the grandstands. Dennis, wave your hand at us so we can see where you are. I know you're straight across from us. I saw the tweet. Hey, there he is. How you doing? Sitting up in the grandstands. He tweeted at us, said he's straight across from us there. I had to focus on getting us up here in the air, and then we had to readjust. See that? Spridge wanted to go a little bit higher. He's working on it. I got my toes are gripped into my shoes so hard.
He's got Dean envy.
I'm getting cramps in my calves just from hanging on to my tennis shoes.
It's Dean envy.
Dean's not afraid.
No, Dean's up there.
More power to Dean. He's got a nice shot there of you see up on the big screen, which you're stands you don't have to. But if you're watching on FloRacing, the pagoda that we're talking about located just behind our back as we sit here, but the grandstand's facing the pagoda. But yeah, it's such a neat field to come out here and to drive in. It's my favorite thing is dropping in towards the museum. Speaking of which, if you're out here and you haven't been to the museum yet, you need to go see the museum. It's going to be renovated or is in the process of being renovated, but they still have a lot, and I mean a lot of neat stuff in there. My favorite, the Miller 91 cars in there, the front-wheel drive.
Beautiful lines on those cars.
But you get a chance to go check that out. But, yeah, we're getting set to go. Cars out here on the racetrack. This is Dirt Draft Hot Laps out on the racing surface as we get set to kick off our Thursday night portion of the program.
And here comes Taylor Reimer.
Dirt Draft is the first and only fantasy racing app where you compete against fans from all over the world by choosing a team of 5 drivers for each USAC event. Based on your driver's results for tonight's event, you are awarded points that you can then use for USAC tickets, broadcast, merchandise, and much, much more. And as a new added feature for 2023, the driver who is drafted the most times throughout the 2023 USAC National season will earn a $500 bonus. Download the Dirt Draft app or visit dirtdraft.com and use the referral code USAC when signing up to get a free t-shirt.
Use that promo code USAC for Dirt Draft. You also get a free gift card for Death Ridge Optics. You can get yourself some new Oakleys if you want to. So we're getting set to go with our Dirt Draft Hot Lap session here on the racetrack. And again, Thursday night cars out on the racetrack is our first group. This is Tommy Colburn out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. The 10A car sitting down here just out of turn number 4, and right behind him is Adam Andretti out of Brownsburg, Indiana, behind the wheel of the number 44. Taking us over to turn number 3, the 18N car of Weston Gorham out of Colleyville, Texas. Joining us on the racetrack, and then Taylor Reimer, the 25K car right back behind the Bixby, Oklahoma racer. The 136, Chris Bowie out of Indianapolis, Indiana, that has a 36, but he is scored as the 136 out here tonight. And then also joining us on the racetrack, just in front of No Doors in the black race car. We'll get a car number on that in just a moment. Unfortunately, I don't recognize that just yet. We're working on it. It could be Blake Brandon out of Morgan Hill, California, the 40B car, I think, pushing off, as we'll find out. The 19 car down into corner, exiting turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. It's Hayden Reinbold out of Gilbert, Arizona, in the 19 AZ. The 22 car just behind John Haydenreich out of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, in the 22. And then the other 22 is the 22P of Taylor Courtney out of Indianapolis, Indiana. He has Jamco on the 22P. I want to throw this out there because I thought this was pretty cool. Jambo's Barbecue on the side of the 22P car. Jambo's Barbecue, if you watch Barbecue Pitmasters, they had an all-star show where they brought back all the winners, and Jambo won the all-star. And so you can get a barbecue pit and supplies and stuff from Jambo, but if you want it from one of the best, obviously he won the all-star portion, and I don't think it gets any better than that.
No doubt about that. And you would be zoned in on that.
I was. I picked right up on it. It's like, I know that name. Funny how that works.
You know, John Heidenreich, we mentioned earlier, having won the Chili Bowl in the HUD 100. He was a devotee of Dutch Schaefer, an outstanding East Coast midget racer. He's a Super Midget Racing Association champion, was well up in all-time ARDC points. His brother raced. His father raced under the assumed name Freddie Charles and actually drove a rear-engine midget at one point in his career. But Heidenreich really came back here to the Midwest to run at the 16th Street Speedway and became a fan favorite there, won a Silver Crown round at Pikes Peak International Raceway. He's been at this game a long, long time.
When you talk about 16th Street Speedway, we're going to have a special coming out on that on FloRacing, as we did a neat little segment about 16th Street Speedway. Just checking, Pat, just checking. On 16th Street Speedway, but yeah, keep your eye on FloRacing. That'll come out probably in the winter months, would be my guess. Tim Truex gets things tuned in on that. But we got to cut loose, put some laps into the books here. Dirt Draft Hot Lap session number 1 of the Driven to Save Lives BC39. White flag coming out. We put group number 1 into the books, and Hayden Reinbold goes P1, a 12.318 for Hayden Reinbold, the 19 AZ car. He's got that P1 spot. Taylor Reimer, second quick. Adam Andretti, third quick, and then Chris Bowie, Taylor Courtney, fifth quick. Weston Gorham, Tommy Colburn, and John Heidenreich. Your hard look out there. Heidenreich, your top. Hayden, I was right there the first time. I doubted myself. 8th quick on the field. I want to throw this out there, and again, if you're not familiar, Taylor Courtney coming in here. You're familiar with Tyler Courtney, obviously, with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Taylor is his twin brother and his older brother. They have 2 different birthdays, born just across that midnight hour. But, yeah, we're not making a mistake on that name. This is Taylor Courtney.
No, he worked on several race teams. He raced with the Armstrong Group out of Newcastle, Indiana, and had an opportunity to work with Hall of Fame inductee Tracy Hines, and then moved to Texas to take care of a race team and a chance to race a little bit here and there. And he and his father-in-law put together a really nice program with midget racing down there. That stable has grown. They're proud of what they've done. And as Taylor said to me recently, I want to write my own story, and he's doing just that.
Yeah, he is doing just that and doing a phenomenal job of it, too. Obviously, also involved with printing, and all these banners we have up here that you see around the racetrack are all printed by the printing company. And, yeah, just...
Him and his father both work at that particular father-in-law in that particular group.
Yeah, tremendously talented individual. Bring out our next group onto the racetrack, the 19 car, Mitchell Moles. That's the black AME Electrical number 19 car. So Mitchell Moles joins us in this second group. The 71 of Jade Avedisian, Clovis, California racer, just behind Mitchell Moles down in turn number 1. And then you have the number 5 car, the 5J of Josh Hodge, Brownsburg, Indiana racer. Took about 24 years off for his family, got away from racing there for a period of time, and now the family's grown up. He's got grandchildren. He said, it's time to get back in a race car, but we've seen him in a sprint car on occasion. Good to have him behind the wheel of a midget out here with us. The 21J just behind him, or the 21D rather, that is Justin Dickerson out of Pittsboro, Indiana, on the front straightaway. The 32 car just out of turn number 4 is the Race House in Homish, Washington. That's Gary Taylor. We saw an interview with him earlier on in that beautiful Brian Dunlap number 32 car. Over on the far side of the racetrack is your defending BC39, Driven to Save Lives BC39 champ, Buddy Kofoid out of Pen Grove, California. Buddy just racing with us tonight. We will not see him back again after tonight. He has other obligations to take care of. And then just behind him, out of Tascadero, California, number 8 of Randy Pankratz. She is behind the wheel, the number 8, and then just behind her, the number 7 Sia, Josh Balicki out of Richfield, Wisconsin. And I talked about Josh. Obviously, you know him from his NASCAR racing and stuff like that, but also saw him race up at the World Championship Snowmobile Derby. Did a little ice oval racing with us up there. And then the 27 of Keith Rauch out of Broomfield, Colorado.
Yeah, Balicki has also ran a Spec Miata, and with IMSA at various points in his career, he's been very, very versatile. Randy Pankratz was a quarter midget champion as a young girl at Pomona, California, made her way through the USAC TQs when USAC sanctioned West Coast TQ racing, and there's been a stalwart at midget racing on the West Coast for some time. Her family, if you think about this, her family has been involved in open wheel racing since probably the late 1930s.
Absolutely
literally.
Staggering to think of.
It would be her great uncle won the very first CRA sanctioned event.
Blake Brandon coming out here was slated to be out in group number 1 with the 40B car, Morgan Hill, California racer. He makes it out for group number 2. So they told him if they have some mechanical issues down the pits, and he has a very small crew out here, as many drivers do, but had some issues down there, so he joins us in the second group. You'll see him in heat race number 1, however, with that 40B car.
You know, it's funny, that interview that we did with Gary Taylor about heat race and the fact you have passing points, etc., and the critical, need to try to win this race. And he just sort of said off of his head, there's Jade, there's Buddy, there's Mitchell Moles, etc., and that's the deal. I mean, he knows the quality of the drivers and teams behind him. And, man, you got to get out and run and hide as fast as you can.
Yeah, you can't lay into daisies, that's for sure. You come out here to run with these as we take a look down at the NOS Energy Drink. That is the pit grandstands down there for the crews. If your car is out on the racetrack, the crew members and family and that come up there to watch, but they are lined up in the NOS Energy Drink as we are high atop the NOS Energy Drink Tower of Power. I just like saying that, Tower of Power. Starting to loosen up a little bit, Pat. My toes unclenched finally.
You need to dial up a couple of Tower of Power songs on your phone. They're still active.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Right, play Vegas. Oh, we got one around. 7C car, Josh Balicki just did a big old pirouette on his tail tank. down in turn number 2. We'll get him pointed in proper direction and pushed off. I saw him rip a tear off as he was going around, so he was definitely calm, cool, and collected behind the wheel of the 7C car. Tony Elliott Foundation, one of the Ramco Speed Group cars they were talking about there with Taylor Courtney.
If I tried to race at this place and rip off a tear wall off, the wall would have told me I'd gone far enough.
We'll fire him back off, see if we can put a lap or 2 in the books. I mean, one car was able to do so out of this second group. Hayden Reinbold's number to beat at 12.318, 12.318. If you're looking for a driver roster, you can find them down at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel Trailer for just $1. Just thinking about that. That's why I said it. Well, Buddy Kofoid, the quickest out of this group. Checkered flag out on this session. Will slow and woe him. Kofoid second quick overall with the 12.444, 12.444. Hayden Reinbold still up top. Kofoid second quick. Taylor Reimer third quick. Then Jade Avedisian, Mitchell Moles your top 5. Adam Andretti was 6 quick. Gary Taylor, Randy Pankratz, and Keith Roush, your top 9. Chris Bowie rounds out the top 10 as we put the second group into the books here in Dirt Draft Hot Laps.
You know, Keith Roush won an ESPN televised event from Ventura. Again, we make the parallels. Terry Lingner, the producer of Thunder, will be inducted in the USAC Hall of Fame. He had a chance to go out the West Coast. He got a call to fill a need in an open seat for a race that was going to be national televised. On the other end of the phone was Parnelli Jones. Keith jumped at the chance, went out, and won the race at a big moment in his career.
So again, if you're looking for a driver roster, you can find those down at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel Trailer for just $1. So you can find out all the drivers, their hometowns, engines, chassis, sponsors, and stats, and everything else on that driver roster. And again, it's just $1 at the USAC Merchandise and Apparel Trailer. And again, that silent auction soon to come to an end. And we'll announce the winner very quickly of the silent auction to go for a ride in a 2-seater with Levi Jones. But you can bid on that down at the USAC Merchandise Apparel Trailer. When this hot lap session is complete, bidding is complete. We'll pick the winner, and by the end of heat race number 2, you need to be down to Driven to Save Lives tent. And again, all the proceeds going to benefit.
Dean's catching all the drivers and crews, etc., standing on the top of the transporters, watching the action. They can sort of peer over the back of the fence behind us as they try to pick up the action. Saw longtime IMS photographer Walt Kuhn trying to take the over-the-shoulder shot behind Tom Hansing. He's taken that shot, the winning Indianapolis 500 moment, many, many times in his career.
So third group out onto the racetrack. The 99K car just past the flag stand. That's Robert Carson out of Concord, California. Just behind him, Shelby Hinton out of Dubberly, Louisiana in the number 4 car. Look a little further back, the 54, Matt Westfall out of Pleasant Hill, Ohio. And then behind Westfall is the 7M, Kyle Jones out of Kennedale, Texas. On the far side of the racetrack, the number 1 car, Kevin Thomas Jr. out of Coleman, Alabama, behind the wheel of the number 1, and one hidden behind the banner for us. The 21J car, though, is Cameron Key out of Warrensburg, Missouri, down in just down the backstretch there in front of the grandstands. And then our other cars out on the racetrack, Kaylee Bryson, Muskogee, Oklahoma racer behind the wheel of the 89, pushes off down here in turn number 1 and 2. And then the car that was hidden behind the banner for us, Kevin Cook out of Winchester, Indiana in the 9P.
Robert Carson, a former BCRA midget champion from Northern California. That is a distinction that also shared with Thomas Mesral and Justin Grant. His dad was I believe, 3-time BCRA champion. So from a great racing family, he might be a 4th-generation racer.
Another racer I forgot to mention is just underneath the flag stand. That's a 55D car out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Or I think of him being out of Sherrills Ford, North Carolina. It's Nick Drake in the GCR Fabrication. Yep. Bellwood Auto Body number 55D. You've seen him in action with the Camping World Truck Series, the K&N Series in the past.
And he was a national champion in the Ford Focus Series. Had great success. Jays Boyd racing down there just was as good as they got in that discipline.
So get ready to wind them up. This is group number 3 of 4 in Dirt Draft Hot Laps. Boy, it has turned into a beautiful day out here as we have the clustering officials. Rich Foreman's got the camera out here during the hot lap session. Looks like Emily Jones talking to Rich down there. Bubby Jones, we got the Bubby Jones Master Going Faster race about to wrap up down at Lawrenceburg Speedway at the Fall Nationals. It'll happen here in, well, next week. Bubby Jones Master Going Faster presented by Spire Sports and Entertainment. Series within a series and a big old bonus.
Yeah, Spire just made a big acquisition in terms of their racing operation.
Really? You're on top of the news, aren't you? I took myself off social media. I rely on you. You're my social media these days. For the most part, I'm still up on the X. Send him across. That top spot's tough to get. KTJ's got himself 5th quick. He's the quickest out of the session. He's also hung up in a little duel with the number 4 car. Oh, that's who bought that. I heard it was up for sale. I didn't know it had sold that quickly. Interesting. Nick Drake cracks the top 5 now. Checkered flag comes out on group number 3. Hayden Reinbold still P1. Buddy Kofoid still P2. Taylor Reimer P3 in the 25K car, but Nick Drake goes 4th quick in the 55D. He is the quickest out of this session. Jade Avedissian 5th quick in the 71 car. Kyle Jones is 7M 6th quick. Kevin Thomas Jr. 7th quick in the number 1. Then Cameron Key, Kaylee Bryson, and Mitchell Moles now your top 10. But Nick showing good speed in the 55D car.
Okay, so here's the connection between Spire Motorsports and something you said just a few minutes ago. And that is that Jeff Dickerson of Spire Motorsports ran a midget at 16th Street Speedway.
Damn. Really?
Yep.
Am I hitting that with my back? Get it like this.
And there's the action in the pits. A really neat setup here. The decision made to keep this facility in place, but so well for the future of this now crown jewel of midget racing. So very important with the Hut 100 the night before the 500 classic events that are no longer with us. Of course, the granddaddy of them all going back to 1934, the Turkey Night Grand Prix. You'll be there at Ventura.
Yep.
Was a Thanksgiving race in 1933, won by Chet Mortimer at Loyola. But the Turkey Night Grand Prix begins with the great Bob Swanson winning in 1934 at Gilmore Stadium, and that tradition has continued with a little gap between 50 and 1955.
You look up on the big screen, you see Jade Avedissian down there looking at her phone, and I'll guarantee you what she's doing is watching her hot lap session, going back and scrubbing through the video there to see what she looked like and where she was running on the racetrack. And see that often with the drivers, a lot of times they'll watch the heat race in front of them while they're sitting in the staging lane. So it's a little bit of a tool that they use to improve their performance as we bring out our 4th and final group.
It's going to be so disappointing to you when you learn that she was watching TikTok videos.
It was not. I know her better than that. Brian Wiedemann's out here. The number 81 car has been bad fast. Keep your eye on the Colby, Kansas runner. 71 Iabrai Eid out of Fresno, California. Preston Latimus out of Lewis, Delaware. Beyond the wheel, the number 23. Jacob Denny, Galloway, Ohio Racers in the 25. The 85 is Jerry Coons Jr. out of Tucson, Arizona. Then the 40 of Chase McDermott out of Springfield, Illinois. C.J. Leary, Greenfield, Indiana Racers in the highly visible number 14 car. The 7X of Thomas Mesrell was your quickest in that early practice session we had for the San Jose, California racer. And Daniel Whitley out of Ferndale, California. The young, talented racer made his debut with us on that Western Swing last year. We've had him with us a number of times this year, but good to have the 58 car out here.
Yeah, he's been an Extreme Outlaw winner this year as well. And you mentioned Jerry Coons Jr. There's no question that Jerry Coons Jr. one day will be honoring over at the USAC headquarters as a member of the USAC Hall of Fame. The credentials have been there for a long time, Triple Crown winner. And you mentioned, and we've mentioned it several times, and we're not really trying to beat a dead horse, but the 81, just not only was Bryant Wiedemann fast, I just like the way he raced.
Yes.
I mean, he had a lot of racecraft. He was making mature decisions on the racetrack. You know, he came through with success, and you know the micros like so many of these drivers, and particularly the high plains of Kansas. But he looks like a guy. I would install him as a real favorite to win this event.
I would as well, and he was almost won there at Eldora with us.
Sure
but
did.
that is a driver who has matured tremendously, as has the entire field of midgets we have with the NOS Energy Drink National Midget Series. They took a lot of grief and a lot of heat last year, but we had a very young group. They matured over the months of that, and obviously some people working with them, driver coaches and different things like that. And we have had a phenomenal season with the NOS Energy Drink National Midget Series.
I remember something Keith Kuhn said to me several years ago, and he said it takes about 3 years.
Yes.
And then I think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, it's like any sport you go into, Chat, when you come to this level, you've been a world beater nearly everywhere you've been. It's the same shock that a college athlete has a pro athlete. Everybody was good. That's why they were there. And suddenly it's a stronger and harder game. You got to acclimate quickly. It takes a little time. You got to mature, and we're seeing that.
So getting ready to cut them loose here. Green flag coming out on this fourth and final group, Dirt Draft Hot Laps. Don't forget to set your Dirt Draft lineup. If you like fantasy sports, you'll love Dirt Draft. As Thomas Meserol just went up and scraped the wall with his rear end. Big old divot down there, and didn't catch it hard, but just enough that car almost got around on him. Recovered quickly, though. Went 6 quick on the next lap around for T-Mez. He came out here to play ball. Checkers coming out. That'll do it for our Dirt Draft Hot Laps. And Chase McDermott says, you like apples? How about them apples? The number 40 car goes P1 with a 12.186. So Chase McDermott quickest in Dirt Draft Hot Laps. Jacob Denny, the 25 car, second quick. Hayden Reinbold bumped down to third quick. Buddy Kofoid, fourth quick. And T-Mez rounds out the top 5 in a second 7X. But the Mount Stout Motorsports number 40 car atop the field with a 12.186.
You know, Chase had gone out to the East Coast and scored victories at Linda's and I believe at Clyde Martin Memorial on a swing out there. Then came back to Davenport or Dubuque, one of those two places, and had a really difficult weekend, but bounced back. He just won a couple of victories, and so he's very much on a roll.
On a roll indeed. Sounds like Christie's caught up with Josh Balicki down the pit area.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chet. Josh Balicki joins us this weekend for the Driven to Save Lives 39 from the NASCAR ranks. He is racing tonight on the dirt track at IMS. He's been on the 2.5 mile, and he's also been on the road course. If I measure, Josh, you might be the only person in the field this weekend who's been on all 3 racetracks at IMS.
Well, that's why I'm here. This is something I've never done. I ran the Chili Bowl. That's my only other dirt midget experience. So it's really cool to be here. This is just a learning experience for me. I had an off weekend in NASCAR. They just announced today that the Brickyard 400 is back next year, so it'll be really cool to be able to race there. I raced the road course here this year. But yeah, all 3 is pretty cool.
You talk about the only other dirt midget race you've participated in is the Chili Bowl Nationals. How is this variable from that?
I think the track's a little bit more racy, more fun from what I've seen so far, but I'm not the person to ask for that. I don't have that much experience. Maybe ask me again after tonight and after Saturday night.
What are you most looking forward to?
Just seat time. This is an incredible group of racers. They're all very talented, and just broadening my skill set, because this is something completely different than what I grew up doing.
Josh Balicki joins us on the dirt track at IMS this weekend. He's the one person in this field, I believe, Chet, who's been on all 3 racetracks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Touched them all. Hey, here comes the 2-seater.
Tell you what I like about that is when someone like that gets out of their comfort zones, willing to do that, willing to try something new, good to him. And this is going to be fun.
This will be interesting indeed. The 2-seater ride coming out here. This was last night's winner. Wasn't able to get out onto the racetrack. But Levi Jones coming out here and idling around. And, again, we talked about Levi. And I said it in a joking manner, but I'm also serious. He worked on the setup of that race car. They did a gearing change onto the car. He wanted a little bit more gear in it and made some changes there. But the 7-time national champ, I think, is looking as forward to this as the winners are.
Now, I'm making a plea right now to Bob Baker, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. This does not restart Levi Jones's clock in terms of his Hall of Fame status. He has still been retired from racing.
Got the GoPros mounted on there as well. He's idling around. He should get the green flag or get the go-ahead here before too awful long, and we'll cut him loose. And again, the silent bid has ended. We'll have a winner for tonight for a 2-seater ride, as it sounds like, hang on a second here. Nope, not yet there. That was a message from someone else. I thought it was something.
Oh,
and he's going to put him in the wall down there in turn number 1.
Yeah, he flirted with it.
Now, we should point out he has not run this car around this racetrack. This is the opening laps for Levi Jones.
He's going to get out and start yelling at his crew chief. Of course, I wouldn't yell at Ray Kennedy.
Don't yell at Ray Kennedy unless you want a broken nose and 2 black eyes, yeah. Not afraid to put her right against the wall.
How close is he down there at 4?
That's a lot of swing weight there on the back. He just tapped the wall with that right rear tire as well, so getting the money's worth in there. So again, we'll have a winner for you here tonight. Whoever wins the 2-seater ride with Levi Jones, you'll be making your way down to the Driven Save Lives tents. Following heat race number 2, we'll get you down there and get you decked out and get ready to go for a rip. He's out over. He got 2 in the fluff down into the corner. I think that's how he set the track record down at Tri-State, was 4 in the fluff, wasn't it?
4 in the fluff.
Shut her down, bring her down here. We'll give him a big round of applause.
I think Susie Elliott tells me that first rides are media rides, Wish TV, WRTV.
Oh, okay.
And social media influencer. Say that.
Influencer.
I can say that.
That's something that we're not. That's
I know, but I'm trying to say that.
Oh, NAS sarcasm.
There you go. That's what I thought.
Oh, it's social media influencer NAS sarcasm's out here with us.
I understood that.
I got you. I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
I didn't get that text message. Susie likes you better than she likes me. That's okay. I can take it. Oh, down to Victory Lane for a Victory Lane photo as well. So how cool is that? I believe we're going to swap riders down there. In the meantime, a great opportunity for you to grab yourself something to eat, something to drink, go to the vendor midway, support the drivers that brought their merchandise and apparel trailers out here. And again, I had a rundown of who those are. I know that the USAC merchandise and apparel trailer, you can grab merchandise and apparel from Emerson Axum and Thomas Mesraw are in the USAC trailer. But also K1 Race Gears down there, Brady Bacon, Keith Coons Motorsports, all the drivers they represent, they got their set